Hey guys, how are you today? Quick rant before we dive into today's chaos. As some of you might have noticed, YouTube's algorithm has decided I'm not special anymore. Shocking, I know. So now if you don't like, comment, or do a little backflip in the algorithm's honor, this video might just vanish into the void, never to be seen again. Seriously though, even a hi or "this is wild" in the comments helps way more than you think. It tells YouTube, hey, people actually like this channel. Maybe don't hide it from everyone. That can really help push my videos out to a wider audience, not just to my subscribers. So if you enjoy these stories and want to support the channel, that's the best way to do it. Now grab a drink, get comfy, and enjoy the drama. You won't want to miss this one.
My 18 female. Parents have been separated since around late 2020. But the situation starts in like 2015-2016. So here's the backstory. When I was younger, around 11 or 12, my dad worked at my middle school, so naturally a lot of families knew mine. Also around that time, my parents decided to get me an agent in the city and take me to auditions for modeling in commercials and other stuff like that. Since my dad worked at my school, we naturally gained a lot of family friends. But there was this one family who got really close to us to the point where we'd go over to their house and have dinners once or twice a month. My mom was never comfortable driving in the city. It freaked her out. So my dad would do it and drive me all around San Francisco to these auditions. Whenever he would take me, the mom from the family, we'll call her Maya, would always coincidentally be there. So we would have lunch or dinner with her in San Francisco. Eventually, Maya meeting us in San Francisco would become a regular thing. And she would try and act like my mom and call me her daughter throughout the entire lunch or dinner and when we would talk around Pier 39 together. They kept doing this until lockdown in 2020. Right before quarantine, Maya and her husband got divorced, and Maya had their 2 sons for most of the time. Maya and my dad had talked pretty regularly, and when I would snoop through my dad's phone because I was suspicious of them, I had found he'd been talking to her on weird messaging apps and saying nasty stuff to her while still married to my mom. In mid-2020, my parents had finally decided to separate, and he moved in with Maya. Not only did he move to her house, but he also didn't contact me or my siblings for months upon end, but posted her sons and her on Facebook proudly. He would still send me and my siblings birthday gifts, but they were very half-hearted and clearly had no real care put into them. Once he finally decided to show his face again, it was my 17th birthday, and he tried talking to me again. But after another half-hearted gift and another birthday of me sobbing, I decided to cut contact with him for a while. Me not talking to him lasted for about 6 months, until I had a mental breakdown, and my parents had to both take initiative on my mental health. Sometime during my senior year, my dad got injured and my mom, being the angel she is, decided to take care of him. And because she did this, Maya decided this would be the perfect time to message my mom and tell her how thankful she is that my mom did that. My mom told her to duck off and never contact her, but she didn't listen. This brings us to present time. My family has repeatedly asked Maya to not post pictures of her and my dad, because I and my siblings can see it. And it hurts us, but she won't listen, and I'm at my limit of my mother being hurt by this W. So would I be the a-hole for calling her and giving her a piece of my mind? Yes, you would be the a-hole. I can't even begin to understand why your mother decided to take care of your dad after they had separated. And then he went straight back to his affair partner when he was better. You seem hell-bent on inserting yourself into your parents' relationship dramas. I understand that you were dragged into it by your father to an extent, but you seem to be wading in deeper than is healthy. It's your father who broke up your family, not his affair partner. She didn't make a vow to your mother that she broke. Your father did. It was his decision to entertain and enter a relationship with her at the expense of his wife and children. He is the one you should be angry at. But you're deflecting your anger onto the affair partner instead. It's perfectly natural for her to post photos of her and her partner on her social media. The reason it hurts you is that you were looking. Block those accounts, and bingo, you don't see the hurtful content. Why can't you just block her and unfollow your dad so you can't see it? I get that it hurts, but they're in a relationship now, and your dad left your family, but you're not giving him any heat. It will not be healing to blast her. You're the a-hole. Your mother needs counseling. What you call being an angel might be something else called codependency. You need more counseling. Your parents' relationship has nothing to do with you. Family counseling might have been a good way for you to address this bad parenting behavior toward you, which does suck. You also need to learn how a block button works. No matter how much you hate someone, You don't get to dictate what they post on social media. My mom and my wife despise each other. It is really heartbreaking for me, but I did everything I could to set boundaries, choose my wife, and put my marriage first. Unfortunately, my mom didn't want to come around, so our relationship is now pretty strained, and she hardly knows my kids, 11 male, 9 female. The relationship is now civil when they are together, but it is rare that my mom is willing to be around us. My wife and I had an emergency and needed a babysitter. My mom is not the first choice, but the first choice was involved in the emergency, and I want to be 100% clear that my mom has never taken her issues with my wife out on our kids. Never been vindictive, anything like that. When she is around them, she is nice, pretty formal, and pretty disinterested. My wife agreed my mom was fine to watch the kids for one night. We called my mom, who immediately pissed my wife off by trying to make us go to her house because she doesn't like our house and demanding she can bring her husband. We convinced her to come over, but said she could bring her husband. He sucks way less than her, and my mom can't function without him. My wife was annoyed by my mom's behavior, and the first thing my mom said when she came through the door was she wasn't wearing socks and no one can make her. My wife's house rule from years ago. My mom also brought her own food, because apparently ours is tainted or something. Neither of us were too happy with her when we left, but we were grateful. When we got home midday the next day, my daughter excitedly showed us that my mom drew, I think it is paint, on her wall. My mom is a professional artist, and honestly, it looked really good. I had a couple of murals growing up, and while I think she should have asked, I wasn't going to get mad. We also let our kids decorate their own space how they want. My wife told my daughter it looked good, but I could see her seething. She went in the other room and demanded to know why my mom painted on the wall. My mom said she was leaving because our emergency was clearly over. My wife screamed at her to answer the question, and my mom said it doesn't matter because we never have to see her again if we don't want to, and she won't help us next time. My stepdad told my wife to chill, and at this point, my wife began screaming that they are criminals. She could sue my mom. She could call the cops if she really wanted to. She tried to block the doorway, and I saw my stepdad give a scary look, so I told her to let them go. I said my mom should have asked, but really it was our daughter's room, and she has to live with it, and it will be easy to paint over someday, so I don't think it warrants this level of anger. My mom and wife ended up in a screaming match and said some really nasty stuff on both ends. And when my stepdad ushered my mom out, my wife told me I betrayed her by siding with my mom, and it was humiliating, and she feels even if I thought that, I shouldn't have said it in front of my mom. Everyone sucks here except your kids. Your mother should have asked, and she knew she should have. So she's the a-hole because she knew what she did was going to upset your wife. Your wife is an a-hole because she overreacted and apparently lost her mind, even going so far as blocking your mother from leaving. She escalated the situation almost to violence. I feel sorry for your kids having to see that, because they must feel like it's all their fault. It sounds to me like your entire family needs counseling. Edited to add why I think the husband is an a-hole. The way he tells the story makes it sound like he's the only one that didn't do anything wrong, but not taking a side is still taking a side. He makes it sound like he was powerless in the situation, as none of it was within his control. You're the a-hole. Your mom knew the relationship was volatile. She came in the door being insulting. I'm sure your wife overreacted to some degree, but I don't care who you are. You don't show up and paint my walls without my permission. It may be the kid's room, but it is still my house. Your mom knew exactly what she was doing, and she got exactly what she wanted. Your wife pissed off. You're the a-hole. You can't let anyone redecorate your home without you and your wife's consent. Your mother came over determined to cause an argument, and you played right into her hands. Background information. Back in February, my sister's husband was going downhill due to his battle with cancer. I stayed with him for a few days to help with the house while my sister and brother-in-law worked on paperwork and such. One evening, my niece, 18 female, wanted to order food from an app similar to DoorDash. So I allowed her to use my card to order us all food. Afterwards, she deleted my card info. Since this time, she has moved out of my sister's house and lives on her own. Recently, she lost her job and is struggling a bit. The problem: a few days ago, I noticed some really strange charges on my account from the company that we had ordered food from. I called my niece up and asked her if she had used my card. She said no, she deleted the card and had not used the app due to not having money. I trusted her, so then I decided to get into contact with the food service to ask about where the charges had come from. The company responded that the charges had come from an account with the same name as my niece. She has a very uniquely spelled name. Here's where I might be the a-hole. I decided to dispute the charges because of the lying. If she had told me the truth, I would have let it stand because I understand that times are hard, but she lied to me. The bank, food service, may decide to press charges because of the dispute. So, Reddit, I must ask you, am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. You didn't make those charges, so you should dispute them. Also, contact your credit card company and get a new card with a new number so she can't do this again. Have you confronted her with the info you received that the charges were made in her name? I did get a new card. I did contact her. She attempted to keep lying, but then came clean, after I already had solid proof from the company that it was her. Not the a-hole. You gave her a chance to come clean. However, if she's struggling to feed herself, please talk to your niece to see if there's something you can help out with. Not the a-hole. You asked her first. If she had said yes and apologized, then I'm sure that you would go easy on her. But she decided to lie. Her fault. And she definitely shouldn't have stolen your info in the first place. Major a-hole move on her part. I, 32 male, work in an office with around 20 people. Over time, some of us have formed friendships and hang out outside of work for a drink or so. My sister, Chloe, 29 female, sometimes joins us for these get-togethers. There was a recent addition to our team, Victoria, 26 female. She's an extremely kind, sweet person and gets along well with everybody. So we invited her to join us in one of our beer nights. Chloe also joined us, and I noticed she exchanged numbers with Victoria. Chloe's gay. The thing is, Chloe has no boundaries when it comes to dating. She's charismatic by nature, gets hit on and hits on girls very often, and quickly jumps from one relationship to the other. She has ruined more than a few of my friendships by dating my friends, breaking their hearts, and that ultimately leads to those friends distancing themselves from me too. I've told her to not do this with my friends, but she never listens. Long story short, I learned from Victoria that Chloe gave her number to call for help or legal advice for a problem she had. Chloe's a lawyer, and it was turning into something more. Victoria is an extremely sweet person, and I honestly don't want her to get hurt. So I told Victoria about Chloe, and said that while I absolutely would support her if she wanted to pursue something with my sister, Chloe has a pattern, and it might end up hurting her. Victoria thanked me for the information, and only was saddened by it. The next day, Chloe came raging after me, and blamed me for saying something to Victoria because she was acting like a different person. I explained the situation. She called me a childish a-hole, and accused me of getting involved in other people's business. We had an argument, and there's still some tension between us. My wife thinks I got myself involved in some unnecessary drama, but most of my friends think I saved Victoria from a disaster. I would like to know, am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole, and your sister is the one inserting herself into drama, not you. You asked your sister to stop doing this, you've lost friends, and now she's doing it with someone you work with. She's in the wrong here. Not the a-hole. You warned Chloe before. She did not listen. As a result, you had some bad experiences with friends, and now you nipped this one in the bud. Not the a-hole. Your sister is pooping where you work. Tell her to pursue relationships in her own work environment, not yours, unless she's already on notice there for this type of behavior. It could also put you in a very awkward position with HR. Quit inviting her to hang out with your coworkers. My stepmother isn't actually. She's just my dad's partner, and I'll refer to her as stepmother context. Stepmother has been crappy over the years, and we aren't sure why Dad is with her, but that's his life. Here are just the top 5 low points. 1. Left me on my own at 14 while she took Dad to Malta for 2 weeks. Her son was meant to care for me. 2. Left me, fiancé, and 1-week-old daughter at hospital after going to the wrong hospital and it being too difficult to get to the right one. 3. Offending the entire family at my nana's funeral twice. 4. Demanding my mother's inheritance money given to me when I turned 18. 5. Sending vile messages via messenger when drunk, lambasting me for not taking in my mentally disabled aunt for 6 to 8 weeks a year to give my dad a break. Now on to why I could be the a-hole. I'm due to get married in 2 months, and in the UK you need to give notice of marriage. This is where you go to the registrar and show you have a right to be married in the UK. For that, I needed my late mother's birth certificate. My dad dutifully brought it up from down south to up north. I had to go over the day before the appointment to get the documents I needed. Dad was out at the time. I wasn't aware. I was told he would be there. And stepmother has her adult kids over with their families. I parked up the road, dismounted, and took off my helmet and gloves, but left the rest of my bike gear on as I only intended to stay a few minutes, say hello, get the documents, and leave. I actually didn't need them as I had ordered copies just in case. She opens the door and informs me Dad isn't there and refuses to hand over the documents, waving them in my face, because I can't marry that woman, who I have a child with, been with soon-to-be wife for 12 years, as it's not right that it's not a religious ceremony. It's a civil ceremony and that's what we can afford. She also said how evil I am for not inviting her. This is true, as we can't stand her and we don't want the hassle. So I let rip with all that crap she's done, a full 15-minute loud rant, tearing her a new one for all the crap she's done, and all the damage she has done, and how she claims to be the victim, and how I'm sick of her crap. And finally, who the F is she to withhold my late mother's birth certificate from me for BS reasons? I snatched them out of her hand and left, leaving her at the door with a face like a slapped jerk, and her kids questioned what I was talking about. Later, my dad called to ask what happened, and I told him. He only heard what stepmother wanted him to hear, and said while he agrees with my reaction, and he will be having words with her, but he thinks I went too far with the rant. I said not my problem. She should have just handed over the documents like I asked, which he agreed to drop it as she is in the wrong. So am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole, but you might need to let loose on Dad too, for allowing her to treat you like this for so long. For Malta at the very least. Not the a-hole. Sounds like she frankly deserved it. Hopefully she learns from this experience, though I highly doubt she will. Not the a-hole. It sounds to me like it's about time someone put that evil bee in her place.